Everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Mindset, or Insider Secrets. Mindset Hacks is our topic today. And we missed last week because I was out sick. And that actually ended up being a part of our rehearsal for our conversation this morning. Those things that we tune into and turn to that give us support when we are starting to fall down. Hey, here comes Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hi,
Good
Shannon. How
morning.
are
Good
you?
morning. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. An important topic, really, I think, for all of us, like during this time of, you know, chaos in the
Yeah,
world. Yeah, I would say.
unsettledness.
Yeah, unsettledness. Yeah. So, how do we care for ourselves when we're in a space of struggle?
Right.
And how do we stay? The word that comes to mind is really buoyant, when we are
That's a good
trying
word.
to, get our work done, take care of our families, and there are lots of demands coming at us. One of my favorite poems is Mary Oliver,
Mm.
The Journey, and there's
Mhm.
that line in there, all the voices
Mhm.
crying to you, everyone saying, "Mend my life," right? And
Right.
our audiences, the people that work directly with us are the people who are, what I like to say is like snow plowing, like they're in front of
Mm.
other people,
Yeah,
they, right? Wouldn't you say?
I
Yeah.
would agree. Yeah, they have they're definitely plowing the way. They're leading the pack almost.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. And so we did our first live event of the season
Mhm.
last Thursday down in Bend. And one of the things that was talked about there was kind of the humanity of being in business for yourself, and
Right.
in an intimate group where people feel safe. What they will do, I have found, is they will unfold the thing that a burden to carry. They will unfold the thing that just needs to be said, needs to be released in order for them to go forward in their experience. And um, for you to feel safe doing that, you need to basically, be in the right audience and feel kind of strong enough and confident
Yeah.
enough, like that I get to feel better here. Like I'm entitled, I'm worthy of feeling good. And so what is it that I get to have in this experience? How do I feel good?
Yeah. And how do you get yourself into that place?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I do think that it's very it really who you surround yourself with or the environment that you're in really plays an impact, but also like how do you internally bring yourself to that place?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we kind of you talked a lot about it last week, and that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Going to like how do
Yeah.
you raise your frequency to be in um that mindset that we all need to continue through this year.
Yeah, I I will say that I think I've been a geek about this for a while because I have wondered, as a human being who gets felled by energies, um, sort of this master feeling of why is it that energies affect me profoundly, what someone said, or
Hmm. Or
or
didn't
even what
say.
there didn't say, just like what I sense. And I didn't say this to you in the rehearsal, but I'll bring it up now. Like, I live in a city, as you guys know, like I live in a very urban area. There are 300 people who live in my building. And last week, when I was down in Bend, it's a lot more spacious. It's like the country. And I felt my energy lift when I was there because there's just less density. And when I came back and I was here, I was like, wow, it feels different. Like it's more work. I love living here, but I could
Yeah.
immediately, and I don't want to move down there again, even though I love it down there. But it was like, wow, it's definitely a little bit more heavy lifting energetically. And that's just a living environment, like the types of things that can affect us as empathic people, as people who are trying to do marketing, as people who are providing client services. Those things can either really lift you up or they can really take you down. And if you're
Right.
trying to be neutral or up and you get, punched in the belly by something and it takes you down, but you still have things you need to get done, for your family, for your work, like what kinds of things can you do? This is what Kate and I were talking about.
Right.
And I believe that the most vital thing that we want to understand during this time is that it comes down to elevating our frequencies. It comes down to understanding that you are a vibrational being and that
Mm-hmm.
vibrational engineering, to quote one master teacher, is really what we're trying to do. It is trying to master ascending or elevating our frequencies in all circumstances. And we are granted, I wouldn't say gifted because it doesn't feel like a gift, but we're granted these opportunities in the form of challenges to our experience of feeling elevated. Like, would that we could go off and sit on a mountaintop and just vibrate high all the live long day. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
And learning how to protect your auric field, learning how to, not get pierced or how to repair it, that really does come down to elevating your frequency.
It does. It does. And I think that there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, a lot of different like approaches that you can take to it. You specifically, Shannon, work with clients on a lot of mindset and elevating your frequency through that. I work with a lot of clients on systems and processes and building your business on the back end in a way that works for you
Mm-hmm.
and allows you the freedom, the space, the to be in that higher frequency or the space to get into that higher frequency. So,
Yeah. Yeah. There's like, to my mind, given what we do for a living here, is there's kind of an infinity loop going on because what Kate is able to do is to understand how a client's brain works and understand both what their business needs in a very structured way and also what they personally need, and help translate that into systems and processes that support both the needs of the business and the needs of the human being who is in that business, you know.
those two go
Um,
very
they
much
go
hand in hand.
very hand in hand. And in my case too, it took me a while. I've been coaching for over 10 years. It took me a while to land on mindset as a really essential focus, which is, you're probably like, well, why? Like, why? It's so obvious, right? But there were lots of different things that went into deepening my understanding of how vital it is for a person to nurture and care for and
Mhm.
and grow, like strengthen their mindset, because life is an experiential journey. Many teachers say it's a school. And so as those lessons come toward us, or we create them for ourselves, they inevitably well, most people just don't pass, including myself. You don't pass a lesson the first time, right? You've got to,
Oh,
you have to take,
or the
usually,
second time.
yeah, sometimes not the second time either, sometimes not the second time either. And so I decided I wanted to share today, on a personal note, that I was having a lot of anxiety last year. I just had some surprising changes in my personal life. I had some important relationships fall away for reasons that were vital to what was going on in those relationships. Like, there was no animosity or anything, but just some
Right.
restructuring that created space. And it was at a time where I was experiencing anxiety, and so I decided that's kind of my go-to. You guys, like, I like basically my belief, having been in mental health for a while, is that it kind of is on a continuum. Like, some people will go toward anxiety and some people will go toward depression. And I tend to go toward anxiety. And I've had times in my life where it's been so paralyzing that I could make it through an entire
Mhm.
90-minute hardcore hot sweaty vinyasa class and not break out of a panic attack. And so I know it's a challenge for me physiologically. And I know that it needs heavier lifting than I can get with, say, therapy. Even though therapy is very effective and I recommend it, I always teach people to build their care teams. But for me personally, what I really wanted to do, because it was interfering with my life, and this is how I talk about any kind of challenge, really. I've been teaching this to my kids since they were little, is if that challenge is interfering with you enjoying your life, then it needs attention. And so I assigned myself the project of doing 90 straight days of
Mhm.
hardcore meditation of 45 minutes a day. And I did it.
Mhm.
And it was hard. It was really, really hard. At first I could sit for 5 minutes and I would get frustrated. I would get up and I would get down, I'd get bored, I'd find 50 other things to do. But I really forced myself to get past my mind and do it. And I had the best month in my business in 2 years in January.
Mhm.
I had a
Okay.
fantastic month. I
Yeah.
did. And then I hit February 18th, which was the 90-day mark. And you guys, I fell off the wagon. I slacked. I slacked.
Mhm.
And the consequences were almost immediate
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
hmm Um,
Yes.
I got sick. It impacted the business. Like it really, I wish that this wasn't true. I wish I could be like, oh, I mastered meditation and then I was channeling everything, like the yogi masters. And that wasn't the case at all. Like I got up to a higher frequency and then I hit some roadblocks and I slipped back down.
And that's okay. And that is life, and that is being human. And I
hmm
think it really goes back to what you talk about a lot, and I've started to take into my own life. It's just practice. You just are continually practicing. Um, you're not, life will happen, you'll get sick, things will wobble, um, and it's not going to be perfect all the time. And you just pick up the pieces when you feel ready again and keep going.
Yeah, that's true. It is a practice, and that's really what my own business is built on. So I think if we were going to say, here what the core things that we offer together are, understanding how to construct a practice and constructing foundations
Yes.
and systems in your business. So we do offer a lot of structure here. Um, and what I found that I think is maybe the most relatable thing in for you guys is, I mean, I hope anyway, is in that journey of 90 days busted out. I'm gonna master this. I'm gonna wrestle it to the ground. Is when I fell off and things started to feel challenging. I did some of the same things that I had done before, which is I began to make myself wrong
Mhm.
for what was coming up, and if you are listening to this right now and you just imagine that feeling of making yourself wrong, it's not a place. I almost think of it as like, is your crown chakra open for information to come in, or is your gaze on the ground? And because if your gaze is on the
Mhm.
ground and your focus energetically is looking down, then you're not open to receive.
Yeah.
And we are all, um, we have availability of receiving guidance, whether it be from people who love us and support us and can see us past our challenges, or from, divine wisdom from the universe. But if we choose, we have free will. And free will applies both in personal relationships and in our relationship with the universe. And so if we choose to suffer, then we can. As Buddha says, pain is inevitable. Suffering, however, is optional, right? And so in my case, what I chose to do was to suffer a little bit, and that doesn't solve the problem. And that's one of the reasons why why I work privately with clients, or we have Kate and I have something we do together, is because everybody does this. Like everybody has patterns that they spiral into. Like, this is too much. I'm overwhelmed. I can't do it. I'm not strong enough. I'm not the right person. And those are just programs that you're invited to basically 180 and shift out of.
Yes. Yes, I also have seen that very personally recently. I have definitely gotten to a space of a lot of overwhelm and self-doubt towards the end of 2024. We're into 2025.
Mhm.
Um, and so I started journaling in January. Kind of very late to the game on this one, but I did it. I did it for 30, 30-ish days. I loved it. I kept going. Kept, I was in such a better headspace. I felt a lot more just confident in myself and like believed in myself.
Mhm.
Um, and I also, the past, I got back into it recent this week, but the past 2 weeks or so, also kind of on the lines when Shannon was sick, maybe there's something going around. It really fell off, and I just like, I went into like, I went off the deep end just in terms of like self-doubt, going back into my overwhelm, ways, and just telling myself I'm overwhelmed and tired and not really doing anything about it. And even this week I picked back up journaling and I'm like, okay, I got this. Like this is my plan. This is what I can do this again. And it's so funny to just see that shift happen. Um, and it goes back to that's the way that I have found recently to step into my higher frequency and be able to keep moving forward at that frequency.
You know, what you just shared makes me think about when I was early on my healing journey from autoimmune illness. I was sick a lot. I was really sick. I felt
Mhm.
I just felt terrible all the time, and I didn't know what was wrong. And so some days, if I got triggered and I had a attack, or sometimes they would last, 48 hours or 72 hours. It'd be very confusing. And I came up with this little formula that I gave to myself, which was that I would not pass judgment on anything that I was thinking, or feeling until I had had three good workouts and three healthy meals that I comfortably digested.
Mm. I love that.
Mhm.
That's actually, we should all take a moment and step back and think about that because
Mhm.
I do find when I'm in that negative headspace that it is because I haven't taken care of myself,
Mhm.
whether that is just going outside and going on a walk, been eating not great, so I need to adjust that, or I've just been sitting in front of my computer for too long, frankly.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah, I think learning that about yourself and giving yourself that grace to take a moment and get in a better headspace before you start listening to those thoughts.
Yeah, they're just thoughts.
Hmm.
And the thing about thoughts is they're going to attach to a frequency. And I mean, I swear to God, you guys, like I was a yoga entrepreneur. Like that's
Yeah.
that was my first foray into business. I did not plan. Certainly, if somebody had said, what you're going to end up doing is metaphysics, I would have said that's bananas. And yet, the longer that I did this, it really became more and more obvious just looking at, my students, looking at my clients, and then, of course, looking at my own personal experience because we're all students of ourselves, right?
Right.
Like what were the things that would really knock me back? And I began to recognize those experiences have a frequency, and they bring
Yeah.
somebody's else's energy can bring me down, or my own thoughts can bring me down. And then it would feel like kind of choosing a 4-minute mile, really, or try to run a 4-minute mile to get back to the frequency I wanted,
Right.
And so, like the 3 and 3 thing that I came up with when I was really sick was, um, I was a busy mom, like I had to take care of my kids and I had stuff going on. And so I could feel my mind just going in a million different directions. And I really tried to compartmentalize and be like, I am not going to judge myself for this. I'm not going to analyze this. I'm just going to wait to consider it when I feel better.
Yeah. I think that that's so important. And it takes reminders sometimes. We all kind of just get caught up in life and slowing down and making space to do the things that make you feel good inside is
Well,
important.
it's vital. And so another piece that we were thinking about this morning is that like the patterned behaviors that we fall into, they can be adjusted, and
Hmm.
you guys know this, but it's like what Kate started to do with the journaling, or me with the meditation. Like you don't need to choose those practices. You can choose practices that are nourishing and nurturing to you. But what we're looking for here is for you to consider embracing the idea that raising your frequency brings you into an awareness, like an opportunity to receive higher quality information, higher quality downloads, more love, more of a feeling of abundance, more opening to possibilities. And so another thing that I have done since I started this project is in the mornings, there are two things I do that I just love. One is I started giving myself permission to have coffee in bed. And I put this on
Hmm.
my Instagram story yesterday. And this might seem like the smallest thing to you guys, but I'm very dutiful. I was raised Catholic, and I was a single parent. And so I'm just super disciplined. And so to give myself permission to do this kind of luxurious thing of making a little pot of coffee and taking it back to bed is like a treat. It's
Yeah.
like the sweetest thing. It's like I am not in the office part of my house yet. I am in the other part of my house. And it's very nurturing. And I will also play yoga music on the speaker in my bedroom while I'm having coffee. So rather than immediately popping my earbuds in and starting on a podcast, or getting out the computer and getting working, I will play calming music. Like these little tiny things that we can do for ourselves, they strengthen us energetically. It's like putting on, I want to say armor, but I'd go more with a cozy sweater, like a protective sweater to help you go into the day.
Right. Right. I like that. Yes, having your morning routine is just, it's important. It sets the tone for the day.
Mm-hmm.
My first thing is going outside.
Mm-hmm.
I have a dog, Olive. She's been on Instagram many times,
She has.
and I'm very lucky in that she's very active dog. She's part collie. So we go every morning, we go on a walk. We do at least a mile, and it's a really nice time of the year where she can be off leash. There's not a lot of people out, and we just walk. And it just it gets me away from the house where I am for the rest of the day. It gets me outside, even on those really, bad weather days, snowing, raining. Like it's still nice to be out there. It's still nice to have that fresh air, and it's a good routine.
It's it's funny, um, but it's not, because these ideas, to my mind, seem very simple. Like if I came across this podcast, I was like, oh,
Oh
they're
yeah.
talking about,
Mhm.
they're talking about making a pot of coffee. They're talking about going outside. And yet there is an elite element to
Mhm.
each of the things that we are talking about. And the elite element is that they are expressive of a natural or organic pursuit of what is now being called precise temperament tuning. And precise temperament tuning is a brand new concept that's being developed by um, leading thought leaders, polymaths and metaphysics professionals, and DJs, like DJs,
Mhm.
because DJs have recognized that what happens to people when their frequencies are up, you know? And so we just have these patterns, you guys. We have these habits. I was staying with my cousins when I was down in Bend, and it was such an honor, really, to sort of watch the frequencies of four different people. Like every single one of them had slightly different trigger points, and every single one
Right.
of them was choosing to get irritated about different things. And to sit on the couch by their fireplace and go like, oh, that's what bugs you. That's what bugs you. That's what lifts you. And so I just want to plant this seed for you guys. Like it isn't just, oh, you should sit down and write in your journal because that's going to make your day better. Like if you are trying to grow your business to, multiple six figures, to, whatever it is that you want to create in your life, you want to make this kind of work an absolute priority because it gives you access to higher quality information, period. Full
Mhm.
stop.
Yeah, 100% agree. So.
Yeah. Anything else you want to suggest to us, to our steady listeners?
No, I think it's really about doing, I think the most important thing is recognizing that this is available to you and doing it in a way that makes you feel good. There is no perfect way to do this. And so doing it in a way that feels good, whatever that looks like to you, is the best way to do it. Best way to raise your frequency, the best way to build your business. They're not a pretty box you have to fit into.
No, no, there's not. And I would add on to that that I feel, I should say, that it is important to push yourself out of your comfort zone
Yes.
on this. It really is. And you can see from what we're sharing here that you choose these practices because they're going to be nourishing, they're going to be nurturing, but you know what else they're going to be? They're going to be challenging.
They're
And
hard.
they're hard. They're hard. They
It's
practice
hard to
practice
show
is
up for
hard.
yourself
Yeah.
every day.
Hmm.
It's hard to do new things. I was telling Shannon this morning, like sometimes I just wish like for a week, a month, like things would just like I could just do the same
Hmm.
things and just like soothe my nervous system and
Hmm.
just be in like a flow. And she challenged me, and that's how do I get comfortable just going through with the changes that need to be
Yeah.
made and
Comfortable with discomfort. Hmm.
comfortable with discomfort. That's the best way to say it. So,
Hmm.
yes, it's going to be hard, and it's also so worth it.
It's very much worth it because you can't see when you're climbing that mountain
Hmm.
what it's going to look like from the top, but it's going to be different, and there are people ahead of you who've done it, who've conquered what you're trying to conquer. So there are always practices, always tools, and of course, always people who can help you develop that practice to a place where you can rely on it and you can get to the next level. And so, as always, we do like to mention that we
Yeah.
offer a program together. We work together. We work privately with clients in operations and systems and in mindset coaching. And then we also have this unique program that we put together for entrepreneurs that we call Resourced. And we we open up one space at a time. I'm sorry, I got a frog in my throat there. And it's really a beautiful program. It's quite customized to you, and it's in beta still for a little while longer. So if getting some structured support with some personalized coaching that really sees you and is with you is of interest, then please send us a message because we'd be happy to share more information about the program. And we're so grateful to you for listening to us and tuning in. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. And it's this was a good one. This one felt good.
It
So,
did. It did. It did. All right, Kate. Thank you. See you
all
next
right.
time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye.